Hello, everyone. All of us want to be happy. Do all of us understand what happiness means similarly? Some of us may think that wealth brings happiness. Others may think that enjoying the good life brings happiness. There are so many books, videos, and other resources that the more we try to understand happiness, the more confused we become. Fortunately, there's one study that has data of 80 years, the Harvard Study of Happiness. It covers all demographics and all socioeconomic groups. Year after year, researchers have gathered information from the same set of volunteers and their families. All medical records are available. The Harvard study is the longest study of its kind. It is authentic and the findings spanning generations have credibility. Therefore, in this episode, I will try to simplify a complex topic by focusing on the basics. First, why do I say happiness is a choice? The answer is simple. Happiness is a state of mind. No one can force you to be happy. No one can force you to be unhappy. The choice is yours. There are exceptions, but in general, incentives motivate us. What can you expect by being happy? For a start, you will live longer. Equally importantly, you will be healthier than others. You will be more productive at work and away from work. You will come up with new ideas. Your mind becomes a fertile ground for creativity, original ideas that have a useful purpose. As an icing on the cake, you will experience positive and meaningful relationships with others. Aren't these enough incentives to be happy? There are many more. But as I said earlier, I want to keep this simple. Before we explore happiness further, let us understand the roots of happiness. Where does happiness emanate? Like it or not, 50% is genetic, what we inherit from parents, grandparents, and so on. It is not much you can do about it. If your parents are always happy and cheerful, you are already 50% ahead of someone whose parents are arguing or quarreling all the time. The other 50% is what we develop as we grow. Irrespective of who we are and where we come from, there is a bunch of things we can do to improve our level of happiness. The Harvard study clearly shows there is no relationship between wealth and happiness. I'm not suggesting that pursuing wealth is a bad idea. All that I'm suggesting is that wealth does not guarantee happiness. Similarly, there is hardly any relationship between health and happiness. The three characteristics that can contribute to happiness are optimism, gratitude, and supportive relationships. Optimism accepts that the ups and downs of life are inevitable. It does not matter how many times you fall or how many times you fail. What does matter is whether you have the courage and strength to get up each time you fall, and the resilience and determination to keep trying every time you fail. The great inventor Edison failed hundreds of times. He never gave up. Hence, he became one of the greatest inventors of all times. One of the prominent social networks today features the video of a woman who is in her 90s. For decades, she slept in a laundromat. She helped people who came in with their wash, folded the washed clothes, made cheerful conversations with everyone, and lived as if she had no worries at all. The owner of the laundromat was so pleased with her attitude, he gave the keys of the laundromat to the lady. One of her customers went on to become a film star. He bought her an apartment, pays all her utility bills, gets her groceries, and has long conversations with her. He took her to the premiere of one of his most successful movies. The lady is in her 90s, has not forgotten the past, still goes to the laundromat to wash her clothes, and still helps others the way she used to years before. What does this moving yet wonderful story tell you? As the sociologist Adam Grant points out, every little act of gratitude will return to you multiplied many times over. The Harvard study emphasizes the value of supportive relationships. The happiest group among the volunteers year after year were those with positive, loving, caring, and compassionate relationships. Now, I have a question for you. Look at this scale. Judge yourself where you are on the scale. The purpose of my presentation is to help you go all the way to the right. Fortunately, science provides us with enough evidence to validate all that we have discussed until now. Neuroscience tells us that our brain is not a homogeneous organ with just one function. Over millions of years of evolution, the human brain today has three parts: what experts call the reptilian brain, the mammal brain, and the human brain. Here is another way of looking at it: the truant model that depicts one mind and three brains. The reptilian brain is a remnant from the past. It is responsible for some autonomous functions like breathing and the beating of the heart. When faced with danger, the reptilian brain goes into fight or flight mode. The mammalian brain is responsible for our emotions. When our needs are met, the mammalian brain releases useful chemicals that make us feel happy. When our needs are not met, the mammalian brain releases toxins that harm us. The result is anger, frustration, anxiety, and even depression. The human brain, that is the left frontal lobe, is where all the excitement takes place. It is the center of love and joy. The left frontal lobe generates new ideas, helps us to face and solve problems, motivates us to help others and to seek help when necessary, and paves the way for enduring and endearing relationships in which trust and respect are dominant. Here is the catch. If all that we are worried about is survival or unmet needs, the frontal lobe that alone can give us happiness withdraws. We become miserable. Therefore, it is vital to exercise the frontal lobe as far as possible. To sum up, neuroscience tells us clearly that our left frontal lobe determines whether we are happy or not. The more you practice using the left lobe, the happier you will be in life. I want to share two simple tools for exercising the left frontal lobe. One is shifting up, the other is reframing. Let us first look at shifting up. Sit in a comfortable position. Don't fidget. Calm the mind. Drive away stray thoughts from entering your brain. Just focus on your breathing. Listen to the rhythmic beating of your heart. Do not think of anything else. After a few minutes, typically 5 to 7 minutes, think of a happy experience. It could be recent or it could be from the distant past. Vividly savor that experience. Relive the happiness. Do this for 2 minutes. Now come to the present. What is your problem? Come up with an answer or solution. Don't analyze whether the answer or solution is right or wrong. The only thing that matters is to have an answer after savoring a happy experience. Go ahead and act on the answer or solution. With sustained practice, you will come up with answers and solutions that will make you and those around you happy. Next, let us look at reframing. I need hardly tell you, life is never 100% pleasant experiences or 100% painful experiences. Highs and lows are an integral part of life. You have a painful experience, naturally, you are down in the dumps. Wait. Don't get angry. Don't get dejected. Reflect. Look for anything, however small or insignificant, good in your experience. Remember, to get an ounce of gold, you must wade through tons of mud and slime. Similarly, from your painful experience, extract the little nugget that has a positive ring to it. Be grateful for the good, however small it may be. Reframing teaches you valuable lessons. Reflection reduces the possibility of your repeating the same mistake. More important, constant reframing helps you to appreciate the good and positive in anything and to ignore the bad and negative. In turn, your optimism goes up. Notice how reframing forms a virtuous cycle of optimism, gratitude, and meaningful relationships. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." How true! Therefore, friends, choose well and be happy. As always, I would love to hear from you. Bye for now.